Good day, everybody. I want to talk about changing the world. Changing the world seems to be the ambition of the very young and the very old. The young, especially those of college age, believe that unfairness can be overcome and injustice can be ended. They realize that these attributes don't represent a life of substance, only a life of material. For that reason, they reconsider their accomplishments and the impact of those accomplishments on their world. Some become disappointed with their efforts and disillusioned with what they did with what they've had. They question their worth and search for value that can be achieved only in what they leave behind for others and in how they've changed the condition of advancement so that those who may have little can achieve much through the pursuit of their hopes and dreams. Andrew Carnegie may have been one of the best known contributors to the greater good. Towards the end of his life, he donated much of his fortune for the construction of educational facilities and libraries. In fact, he built more than 2,500 libraries, including one in the town in which I work. Bill Gates and Warren Buffett are donating billions for the pursuit of eradicating diseases and educating the youth. John D. Rockefeller and Marshall Field founded the University of Chicago, which Mr. Rockefeller claimed was his best investment ever. Walt Disney helped fund the California Institute for the Arts, a university in Southern California. Henry Ford created the Ford Foundation to distribute his billions to charities. And Howard Hughes gave his billions to establish the Howard Hughes Medical Institute. All had one commonality. They did so towards the end of their lives, after realizing a lifetime of wealth accumulation did not satisfy their lifetime need for meaning. The need to leave something behind of significance and admiration behind through the creation of charities and buildings and universities becomes a driving force as we age. The desire to change the world and create meaning for our lives consumes our mind and bodies towards this noble pursuit, which sadly few obtain. In doing so, it is the internal hope that we stand for more at the end of our life than we did when we were living it. What personal characteristics does it take to change the world? Some of these traits and characteristics, of course, are similar to those of anybody who wants to change something in their life or in our world. But there are other traits and characteristics unique to those who aspire to great change and great significance. People like Henry Ford and Andrew Carnegie. These traits and characteristics include, first is authority. Change of any scale or significance requires the authority to determine the direction and the means to get there. Some may possess abundant skills, which is the ability to make change, but without the authority to utilize those skills, the scale and scope will certainly be limited. Second is resources. Remaking and redrawing the future on a global scale demands resources of great significance. A candidate for the President of the United States requires considerably more financial resources than a candidate for mayor of a small town. Likewise, global change requires resources on a global scale. Third is the ability to communicate. Those that make great change in this world have the ability to communicate broadly and concisely to any host of constituents. While you may have the ability and the authority to force change, power is a helpful tool to convince those outside of your authoritative rights. The ability, then, to convince, cajole, and persuade can be used to great advantage and expand the power and the range of your influence. For instance, Martin Luther King and Rush Limbaugh are two individuals who really have no particular authoritative base, but they've used their oratory skills to entice an audience and sway an opinion. Fourth and last is crisis. Though not a skill, it's often necessary for global change. The presence of a crisis weakens resolve and raises susceptibility to an inspiring, though sometimes dangerous, message from nearly any source. And there we have it. The need, the willingness, the ability to change. The ability to stand for something and to leave something behind. It becomes important because money may come and go, and for most of it goes, but institutions and buildings tend to last for generations, with the name attached to their buildings a permanent reminder of a life lived in service of others and contributions to mankind. Age does change the perspective of man. People think deeply and broadly as they come to their end. The realization of what people have accomplished prompts them to use what they accumulated towards temples of magnificence. Whether those temples include eradicating the guinea worm disease, which is something that former President Jimmy Carter has done, or founding Vanderbilt University, which was founded by railroad baron Commodore Vanderbilt, these accomplishments are often seen as a singular mark of someone's time on Earth. Thanks, everybody. Enjoy the day.